Hey, how's it going everyone? This is the Anime Man. Contrary to popular belief, the anime and manga industry is not only just filled up with anime and manga. In fact, there is yet again another form of medium that a lot of anime and manga stems from, and vice versa, and that is a little thing called light novels. Now, some of you may have heard the term but don't know what it actually is, while some of you guys are more versed in the light novel world. If you guys don't know what a light novel is pretty much, the easiest way to say it is, it's a cross between an actual novel and a manga. It's like if somebody grabbed a manga, got rid of like 99% of the drawings, and instead of the speech bubbles and the actions seen visually, it is all written in text. Now, if you've been keeping up to date with, I'd say, the past 5 or 6 years of anime that have come out, you'll see that a lot of anime adaptations come originally from these light novel series. And if you are well versed in either the light novel world or the recent anime world, you'll see that a lot of anime, especially recently, have these ridiculously long names. Like, there are a lot of anime adaptations which come from light novel series of the same name, where the title of the series is like an entire sentence. Yo dude, I've been wanting to get into like a few light novel series. Like, do you have any that you can recommend to me? Oh yeah dude, there are a few good ones that I've got right here that I can recommend to you. There's Nijigen no Torikoを守るにはFufoni nagara Kanojoが必要らしい。お前をオタクにしてやるから俺をリア充にしてくれ。やはり俺の青春ラブコメは間違っている。突然騎士になって無夫な俺がいる。And bento. What? To a person who can hardly understand Japanese or can't remember long titles in Japanese, this is a pretty annoying dilemma. Like, you want to recommend a light novel series to someone, and when they ask you what it's called, you're just like, Imoto? And it seems like this is actually a growing trend. There are more and more light novel series that have longer and longer titles, and in return, there are more anime series that have longer and longer titles as well, as there are more anime adaptations of these light novel series. So the real question is, why do so many light novel series have such long titles? Well, believe it or not, the answer to this question is simply that people are lazy, but not in the way you think. You might think people are lazy in the fact that light novel authors are just like, oh, I can't be bothered to think of like a clever title for this. Let's just like smack like half the blurb of the actual book and just use it as the title. Because that's essentially what they're doing. The main reason why light novel series titles are getting longer and longer is because people are getting too lazy to read the blurb of the novel. If you guys don't know, a blurb is a passage, usually at the back of the book, that tells you what the novel is going to be about. And unfortunately, too many people are getting too lazy to read these blurbs. And so light novel authors have kind of fixed a way around this problem, and to use a title that prevents people or allows people to understand what the book is about without having to read the blurb, thus resulting in usually very long and very descriptive titles. The other minor reason as to why light novel series may have longer titles is because the light novel industry, especially in the recent decade, is getting larger and larger by the year. And since there are more and more novels being produced and more new authors being produced, authors have to find a way to stand out in this crowd. And if the title of a novel is long and descriptive, it is usually unique, and that is a surefire way to really stand out in the crowd. Take for example a light novel series which I'm currently reading right now. This one's called Nijigen no Torikoを守るにはFufoni nagara Kanojoが必要らしい. Roughly translated to English reads, although I'm against it, in order to protect the second dimension world, she's required. Now, just by reading that title, you get a good sense as to what this novel entails. Obviously, it has to do with the fact that the main character is an otaku, and that he has this 2D world that he wants to protect, and in order to protect that, this heroine is required. But to what degree? Well, that's where you read the novel and find out. You're pretty much able to read the general synopsis of a series just by reading the title, and that's what light novel authors are trying to aim for. However, there are also a lot of light novel authors that are seeing that this trend is slowly going to change back to authors finding shorter and more catchier and more memorable titles for their light novel series rather than these extremely long and descriptive ones. I mean, as an avid light novel reader myself, I actually kind of agree on this notion that sure, although these titles may be long and harder to remember, they do leave kind of a good first impression just by reading the title. Like, you know straight off the bat, just by reading the title, what kind of story it's going to be and like what direction they're going to take it in, and it's kind of an interesting way of, I guess, first impression marketing, if I were to say it in such terms. Overall, just remember that as the light novel world is gradually growing year by year, there are inevitably going to be more anime adaptations of these light novel series, which means in the next coming years, there are going to be anime series with longer and longer titles. Anyways guys, let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite light novel series? What is the longest title of a light novel series that you can think of? And do you enjoy light novel series? Would you like to get into light novel series? I want you guys to let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thanks for watching. As always, like, favorite, enjoy, subscribe for any event. I'll see you in the next video, whatever I make. Keep watching anime. Ciao!